Hey there everyone, Drake Sirach here from AI Foundations. Now the following video that you are about to watch is a live call that actually took place in my AI Foundations community. We host at least 2 calls a week within the community, and in July of 2024, which is this month, we are doing a series on AI automations called Automations Unlocked, and how we can actually automate tasks with AI and learn everything we need to know. Now, this call was an introduction call, and in this 5-part series, I will be uploading it to YouTube, but if you want the live interactive experience and you don't only want these automation calls, but everything else our community has to offer, then I will leave a link to join this community in the description or the top pinned comment. As you can see, when we go to the calendar, we have all of our live calls here, and we have 4 more calls on AI automations coming up. This call was call 1 of 5 on the AI automations. And I wanted to bring this to you because we're in the business of solving people's problems. So we always go off on tangents, not only on things about AI, but business solutions, helping people with their business, helping people implement AI in their business, in their personal life. So it's not all about AI, what you're about to watch, but a lot of it is just about solving people's problems, and that's what we're here to do. Now, this community is much more than just the live calls. We also have a classroom with multiple courses to learn from, including an AI automations course, and a community where you can go in here, you can ask questions, we can talk about certain things as a community. You know, we're in here every single day talking about artificial intelligence, and that's what makes this community so special. And honestly, that's how you learn it best, is putting a bunch of people in the same room thinking about one thing, which in this case is AI, and it's going to revolutionize the world. So being a part of a community that realizes that is so empowering and it's so helpful. But without further ado, I'm going to give you access to this live call. You know, usually these live calls we like to only keep within the community, but I really wanted you to gain access to this live automation call series because automations are huge. So without further ado, let's jump right into the call. Welcome in, everybody.
Everyone.
Welcome.
Remco. Remco, it's
Hey,
been a while
guys.
on the calls. It's nice seeing you again.
Nice to be here.
Ashley, Ben, how are you guys doing? Johnny, nice to see everybody here.
Hey there, guys. Great to see all of you.
Yep, I'm excited to get into the first part of a 5-part series.
Who's got that Firefly AI note taker in here? That's Ben. You see that Fireflies.ai note taker, Ben?
Yeah, got a lot of AI note takers in here.
I didn't
Yeah.
know I had one. Must be another
AI. Does anybody
Yeah.
have these in here? I'm not, it's no problem. I'm wondering because I'm curious, like what kind of results you get with them. If anybody runs these little
I almost
plugins.
wonder if they're sent to these calls for the people to take notes and they're not here. Some of them.
I see. Okay.
Andy, how you doing?
Clever.
Key.
I
Nice to
see
see everybody.
AI companion. I've never used it. Should I try it?
Go for it.
Says I have to ask you permission.
Okay,
Oh.
Ashley's requesting you to start AI Companion. All participants only from when they join. Okay, yeah, let's try it.
Okay.
Larry, welcome in, Larry.
Too. Yeah. How are you guys?
Good. How about yourself?
Good.
Good. Well, we're going to hop in here. I've got a presentation for the first meeting. Anybody at any point can ask questions. This is kind of going to be more of a structured series where we just go over everything to do with AI automations. Not just automations in general, but calling them AI automations because of how powerful everything with AI has become.
Both for working on the automations and using AI in the automations, as you'll see with a lot of these examples.
Yeah. It's going to be kind of an introduction call for this 5-part series. What we're going to go over is going to be over the course of the month. So hopefully some of you can learn something new about automations. And also, I wanted to mention, let me pull it up real quick, to be taking notes because we have that AI contest.
Automations contest.
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up real quick. We can start with that just so everyone can actually see. If you don't remember, last week we had a call where I announced this new contest right here, Best Automation Wins. And so the goal is to create an automation, record your automation using something like Loom or OBS or any other screen recording tool, and upload it to this thread right here for new contest, Best Automation Wins. This post is pinned right now at the top of the community feed. So if you go to all you can see that we have this post pinned right here. And so nobody's actually entered yet. And we're giving away $350+ in prizes. So if you're the only one, again, you win everything. So the goal of this automation is to have it be productive, have it be easy to use, efficient. Does it save time? Is it user friendly? Can it replace an employee? Those are the things to keep in mind. And yeah, we have tons of stuff that you can win. So this might be a good starting block for you to get motivated on this call in order to create some automations. We have a lot of comments in here, which is amazing. But if you have an automation, might as well upload it, right? So I'm just going to hop right into this slideshow we have here. It's going to be, again, kind of more structured than our usual free-flowing calls. But at any point, if anyone has any questions or any statements or any pointers for me as well, any things that you found doing automations, please feel free to just interrupt me and unmute your mic. You don't even have to raise your hand, just unmute your mic, ask away. That's what this is all about as the community. So let's get into it. The series Automations Unlocked, first call of a 5-part series. I'm super excited to get into this because automations aren't really something that I was using until I created this group, to be honest with you. So I'm really new in the automation space, but I've done some pretty cool things with it. I've seen some small results, some small wins already using automations. And these really excite me because that's kind of where the world is going, is to automate the undesirable jobs or those tasks that take a lot of time, especially with AI, because Carter and I have actually automated some systems and things in the past using things like Notion and Zapier, but mainly just small things for our businesses, like checkout sessions and Stripe, email a user when they check out, simple things like that, or adding users to a CRM and Notion. But with AI, man, automations, the game has changed for automation. So I'm excited for this 5-part series, and I hope that everyone in here can learn a lot. I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot from all of you as well. So let's get right into it. What are automations? Starting off super, super basic, but it is kind of important to understand in general what an automation is. And I didn't generate this concept with AI, if that's what you were wondering. But an automation is a system or process we can build in order to help us complete tasks. These tasks are often repetitive things we do that take up a lot of time, but saving time isn't the only benefit of creating automations. A lot of the time I got stuck in the trap of just thinking, okay, how can I save time with this automation? But there's multiple other benefits to automations that I didn't really realize until I actually started creating them. So let's take a look at the benefits of automations. All right. Thought this dancing cat would be appropriate here. That's actually Garfield. So I think Garfield has a movie out right now. But anyway, let's get into the benefits of the automations. Number one, saving time. Obviously, we have to throw that in there. Imagine if you could get back all of those hours you spent on repetitive tasks. What would you do with that extra time? Would you learn a new skill, spend more time with your family, take on a more meaningful project at work? Well, automations make this possible. And I found that automations don't only save me time, but save me money. Not only because I'm saving my time and can make more money, but also because I've just tried things by hiring people. And then I tried things by automating the system and automating the process. And a lot of the time you have a lot more control over the automation, especially if you somewhat know what you're doing. And I think hiring experts is definitely good. And when you're going into a space that you're not very familiar with, but things like social media, I know how to create a good social media post. So when I was trying to hire that and there were people who weren't as good at me, but still charging me a lot of money, that's something that I wanted to automate, is my social media posts. And I'm going to show you that here a little later, but it's something I'm good at that just takes a lot of time. So I tried hiring, but they weren't as good at it as me. So I decided to create an automation around it.
Another way to think about that, sorry, Drake, to cut you off. Another way to think about that is basically when you're creating these automations, you're creating a clone of yourself. You're creating a clone of that piece of information that you have duplicated over and over again, that process that you've perfected. The way that you edit your videos in the future, I think, can be an automated process if you can train an AI on that. The way that you talk, the way that you type, everything. So I think that that's just another thing I wanted to hit home on that, Drake, to your point. Yeah.
That how precise is the tuning? Yeah, because you said just interrupt you with the questions. I had exactly the same problem with my Instagram. I have many followers, and I try to find somebody, some doctor or some doctorate student, dentist in India or wherever, to write content for me, and they were never as good as me. And it was like, and I was wondering, how precise can you make it be? So how good or how closely will the content that the algorithm will produce will match the content that you write?
You can get it pretty similar, especially when you start getting into things like fine tuning. Carter and I are going to create a course on fine tuning here soon, like a little 6-part course. And when you start getting into fine tuning, I think that's when you can get really precise. But when you provide examples, like the things I always talk about, providing plenty of examples on how you want your chatbot to respond and actually in actual scenarios of your writing, right? If you have a lot of data, a lot of Instagram posts that you've created yourself, then that's going to be huge. Is when you have that database of posts, actually uploading that either to the knowledge section of an assistant GPT, or even Claude now has custom instructions and project files that I think are becoming quite powerful. You can get it really accurate, but it is going to take a little bit of time, and not only time, but it's not even going to take that much time. The thing it really requires is just data, like the ability to feed it posts that you've created in the past so it knows what to replicate and specific output formatting that you want it to follow. It's definitely.
I'll add something. If you post a lot in this community, and you have like a specific writing style, you're providing value, and you think that that's kind of the writing style that you might want to go for. I've thought to myself, like, what about creating a AI version of something that's trained on the conversations that I've had with all of you here in the school community? Because I haven't used a bit of AI here throughout all of the discussions and the posting. I thought that would be kind of a cool way to train it on my voice, the way that I respond to certain information. So that's another thing that you can think about, is like when you're creating content, you're creating the training data for your future assistants.
What would you do? I'm sorry to interrupt. What would you do when you don't really have a presence in social media, LinkedIn or whatever? That's where I'm trying to kick off, is LinkedIn and my website and blog. I guess you just use it to build your
Right.
persona, I guess. Now, what I do have is probably 30 years of talks and lectures and those kinds of things, but that doesn't directly translate over to writing.
It can, though. It can, because if you can get transcripts or create transcripts of your voice speaking, and you want your post to be in the writing style of your lectures, then when you generate those transcripts, you can actually, you can create a speaking style around those transcripts. That's what I've done with I'm not sure if you've seen the newsletter automation, Larry.
That's what I'm working on right now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you get to the part, I didn't go crazy in depth on it, but when I tell it to replicate my speaking style that I talk like in the video, it does a really good job, actually, just with a simple thing, replicate my speaking style. So is there a way that you can get those transcripts from all those lectures that you did?
So they're all, I have all of them, but they're all,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but they're all, my manuscripts is what they are.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you could create a speaking style around your voice if you have the transcripts and you have the words you said. That's definitely possible. And you could actually create an automation to kind of parse out all of those transcripts and to generate a speaking style for you.
Okay.
I would like to give my 2 cents to Larry.
Yeah.
I would really recommend before you try to replicate your style for creating social media content, if you're just starting, you better just play a little bit and see what works for you and what does your audience like and prefer and responds to, because social media content and actual lectures are very, very, very different. I mean, you don't know me, but I'm a dentist and I teach a dentist, but I also have a very active or quite an okay social media account. And the material that I can actually transmit and the type of information that works on social media is quite different from the information that will work on a lecture. So
I get you. I've been a consultant for 30 years. And so part of my job was to speak to executives and work with executive leadership and those kinds of things. That's my audience. And so I'm not afraid about that, about talking to them. I just need to build that style on how to talk to them, right?
Right.
I have a couple posts on LinkedIn. That's it. It was never a thing for me. So I just need to start building that brand is what I need to do.
Larry, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Did you try to use also your sent mails? Because you sent a lot of mails.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You can also use that as a data.
Very, very good. Very good idea, actually.
Great point. Yeah, great point. Because think about all the times that you've spent just like racking your brain writing stuff throughout the years before you had these assistants. Like that's all great training data. Like if it's the voice that you're going for, I think it's great.
Hey, sorry to take all that time, but that was great. Thanks.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. That's what these calls are about. And Simon, really good points. You have thousands of followers on Instagram. I checked you out. So that was definitely a good point from Simon and Remco. Larry, I hope you gained some good insight.
I would like to say a short anecdote about that. So I used to be a magician, and I remember when we were training to do magic tricks, we used to go to bars and just hop from one table to the other and show our magic tricks. And one time I was just a beginner. I knew how to do like 3 tricks, and this guy came. He was really big in our community, and he was really, really technical and really, really amazing. And we went to the tables, and I did my silly trick and he did his, but people stopped me. And from my point of view, he was really amazing and he was really technical and he was really interesting. But my magic trick was much more entertaining and engaging. And it doesn't matter that it wasn't technical. It was simple and to the point, and people liked it. So sometimes as professionals, we look at someone and we go, whoa, he's amazing. He's so smart. But for the layperson or for people who might follow you, it can be too technical and not interesting and can miss the point for them. That's what I'm trying to say, is that what we like as professionals very often, and it's not what our audience would respond to. And it's a point you should check before you try to do a copy paste of your style to social media.
So that's an excellent point, and I appreciate that. But so that is my style, though, is talking. My audience is talking to those leadership day to day, right? So I'm used to dumbing it down, so to speak. I hate using that word, but bringing it down to their other people's level so they can understand what a vulnerability is, what how they got compromised or what their risk is, those kinds of things. Yeah, I appreciate that. Very good. Thanks.
Very good.
There's really also no shortcut in terms of like the training data, because you're always going to be changing and you're always going to need to still be engaging, I think, to keep this thing relevant. You're always going to need to still be providing new data, and it needs to be relevant, to Simon's point. It needs to be data that's actually going to be geared towards the goal that you're using on that platform. So if you're using your emails and you're trying to create social media posts with that, or YouTube scripts, it might be a little weird. But if you're trying to create a customer service agent and you take past customer service emails, this call is being recorded, you can really use that data to help you out, along with FAQs that you might have, or SOPs for customer support agents. You've got to think about the context of what you're trying to duplicate your voice for. So that is a very good point.
Yeah, very good. And Larry, it might even be worth just creating posts for a month or two on your own, seeing what grabs, seeing what doesn't. Because I started off this channel, AI Foundations, funny enough, it was going to be a personal development channel. And I was actually uploading like how to create goals using things like Miro, and I had no idea that this was actually going to turn into an artificial intelligence channel until I uploaded my first ChatGPT video, and I loved it, and I saw that it was going to be huge. So I tested the waters. I uploaded it kind of out of my comfort zone, and it did really, really well. And so that kind of shifted my entire perspective.
Same thing I did with Notion. Same thing I did with Notion. Like, I started the channel. It was going to be a lead generation channel for my local ad agency and / website design agency. And it turned into a Notion channel, and I became one of the bigger Notion channels on YouTube, and people loved my teaching style with that. So once I found something I was really like good at and people liked, and it was in demand on YouTube, that's kind of how it works. Not that YouTube's the point, but it's
right.
And also that it's not only for your niche and stuff, like what you're going to to figure out. But it's also like what you're saying with your writing style. How's your audience going to respond with different things? Because maybe your intended audience isn't going to be your future audience, you know?
That's a good point. Yeah. One of the things I'm doing right now is I have any posts that I have been doing in articles. I've been writing them myself, but using ChatGPT to correct me and make it better, kind of thing.
Right.
And that's how I've kind of been building my style so far.
Using it to enhance your writing rather than do all the writing for you. Okay, that's good. I think that's a great spot to start.
Yeah, keep us plugged in, Larry. We want to hear how it's going.
Trying to learn how to get, maybe you've got videos on this already, is how do you write a 2,400 character word? Because an article should be about 2,400 characters, they say, for SEO. But ChatGPT, you can't get to do more than 800 words unless you do iterations or use.
Larry, I'll say something on that, and maybe I'll stop more forward. I don't think you should focus on the length, and you should focus on the style. Just focus on solving people's problems. So when I started my channel, I'm doing root canal therapy, and everybody told me, like, don't do a channel about root canal therapy because nobody cares and you will not have an audience. It's too niche and nobody's interested. And I said, well, this is my passion and I'm going to be doing it. So I'll just give it a go. And what worked in the end was not the style or not the length of the videos. Like, one of the videos I hated the most, and it was short and it was stupid from my point of view, was a video that got me, like, I think 300,000 views on Instagram. And it was just based on solving people's problems. So I gave a video from my experience that I thought was really obvious and really stupid, but I did it anyway because my goal was solving people's problems. And it exploded, and it got me, like, I think like 6,000 or 7,000 followers when I was just starting. Like, it went super viral, and it was something that I would have done if my goal wasn't solving people's problems, if my goal was creating content that I like and I think that is good. I thought it was a shit video, but I knew it solves the problem. So I don't know if you should be focusing on your length and on the style, but if you focus on just solving problems people have, you'll see what they respond to.
Details and to
very good
background. My plan is so I'm a consultant and I deal with executive leadership, and I also deal with employees. And so I have two plans. One is to talk about the everyday, couple times a day, week, as a compromise, a hack, or a new vulnerability comes out, talk about it, how you protect yourself. It's going to be a quick post, right? And that's solving people's problems. People need that. And then articles on, longer articles that are going to go on my blog and talk about actual issues with some details in them. So I'm going to do both, is my plan. Probably 4 articles a month, and then, posts throughout the week.
Right.
I mean, does that sound all right?
I think it sounds like, honestly, you might just need like a bigger testing phase as well, because maybe it'd work better with 2 handwritten, or like even 1 handwritten article, not handwritten, but 1 personally typed article per month rather than 4 AI generated ones. Or I mean, I really like Simon's points of solving problems. I found that's when I have the most success. It's when I dive deep into the problems. It's funny, when you solve somebody's problem, they're going to come back, and you feel better doing it too, But I think it's all good points. And
hey, Drake, I've got a quick question.
What's up, Richard?
Hi, I'm new. My name's Rich. How's everyone?
Welcome.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome.
Hey, I've heard that if you upload your personality assessments, like your MBTI and your Colby or your DISC to your custom instructions, that affects how GPT responds to you. Is there any truth to that may play into how it would write for you as well?
I think so, because each personality, like I was an INTJ, for instance, on the, what's that test called? The Myers-Briggs?
Myers-Briggs, yes.
Yeah. I was an INTJ, so I'm sure but especially when you go back to that page that describes your strengths, your weaknesses, your relationship stuff, if that stuff really rings true to you and you say, this is who I am, now write like an INTJ, I guarantee that would change the results 100%.
Yeah. I noticed a big difference once I did that.
That's a really good idea, though. I've never even thought of that, honestly, uploading my personality. That's sweet.
I did it in the custom instructions, and it just remembers it. And I noticed a pretty dramatic difference once I did that.
Have you liked the writing better?
With ChatGPT, yes. With the 4.0, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
So, Richard, I've done something similar. At my company, I am on the neurodiversity group. And so I have taught people how to adjust their custom instructions for if you have ADHD and you hate to read through paragraphs of information and you prefer to see it in a different way, or you struggle with task initiation and you need the responses to be like, let me break it into small steps for you.
Right.
You can get a dopamine hit by crossing something off your list. Same with different people who had autism or different specific personality things that they need addressed. So someone was like, I have anxiety a lot. And I taught them how to use it as a counselor to discuss their anxiety and say, like, is this actually a concern? Or help me walk through this to kind of calm down. So you can absolutely talk about your personality, the different ways you learn, the different ways you think, and have the instructions tailor it to you.
Where do you insert it? Do you insert it in the extra information or in the learning data?
It's in the special instructions, Simon.
The special instruction. Okay.
Or you could use a custom GPT too, and put in ridiculous amounts of information about yourself. Like I have one from one of Drake's trainings back in the day where like you could put your health information in there and
the tailored health plans.
Become your own knowledge base.
Yeah.
So like I put my blood tests in, my like journey of weight loss, or if I want to build muscle in one place or another, you can track that progress, put in your body index results, those types of things, and it will tailor your future workouts to how your body's, I'm going on a tangent, but there's so much customization you can build.
It's amazing and scary in the same time.
1,000,000%. It's like, how much information do you want to give this robot about yourself? You have to decide.
Yes, I love it. Richard, by the way, your microphone quality is immaculate.
Oh, thank you.
I was going to say the same.
Your guys sound well as you sound good too. Yeah.
That's good. All right, so let's get into some of the other benefits of automations, kind of picking up where we left off. So saving time, obviously one. Let's get into the next. Oh, what's happening here? Okay, so the next one that I think is huge is reducing errors, because when we're doing tasks all day, especially repetitive tasks or tasks that require complex reasoning or a lot of focus, a lot of precision, if we're doing those kind of tasks all day and we need them to be right, we're humans. So obviously we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make errors. And that's why I also like implementing automations in my workflow, because for one, they're always on time. And for two, computers can perform that same task multiple times without getting bored, at least not yet. I don't think AI has emotions yet. So hopefully AI doesn't get emotions, so it doesn't get bored during all of our automations. And it doesn't really make errors when it's going through automations. I mean, there are things you have to tweak, but there's less room for errors and you can fix them a lot easier so that it can perform that task with minimal mistakes. So that's another benefit of automations, in my opinion. Another one is increased productivity. Obviously, when we automate routine tasks, we can focus our energy on the high value work that actually needs our expertise. It's like having a team of virtual assistants working for you at all times. And I think this is only going to get stronger, especially when we start talking about things like AI agents, setting up agents that can communicate with each other, that can use, there's a prompting strategy called Reflexion. It's verbal feedback assessment. So these agents there's a system you can build where you can have self-evaluation, but you're not the one actually doing the evaluation. You have an agent evaluating the process and feeding training data to the agents that are completing the process without your intervention. So I'll share that white paper in the group a little bit later, but that's an interesting concept, how there's agents that can help agents improve the automation. Pretty cool idea here. The next thing is scalability. Scalability. So as your workload starts to increase, automations will allow you to scale operations and perform more tasks without the need of hiring more people. Now, there is a learning curve to automation, so that's kind of the trade-off, but this makes growing, especially for smaller businesses, much more cost-effective, and for larger companies as well. But I mainly think about it on the smaller business side of things, when one person can build out an automation that does the work of employees, and you're going to lose some of that personal touch. So it really just depends on what you have the automation completing the task that you want to do for, So scalability is a big one. This one is actually huge, a better customer experience. We've had some success in this group with Keith, I believe, on this, because he implemented a chatbot on his website, that automated process, so that, customers could talk to this chatbot. Automations allow you to duplicate yourself for the customer. This could be things like responding faster, processing orders quicker, answering basic questions with something like a chatbot, providing important resources or document upon customer request, etc. So you can provide 24/7 amazing customer service. And not only customer service, but also something like employee onboarding. If you have an SOP or you have an automated process to onboard employees, that's another thing that you can start to think about. Saves a lot of time, saves a lot of money, and it allows you to duplicate yourself where you're needed. That's what I found with creating course modules, even, is when I create a video, I duplicate myself, and it's kind of this compounding process where that video will always be there, and it's always going to get views. I can always reference back to it if people have questions. It's pretty amazing. And that's what automations kind of allow you to do, in a sense, is duplicate yourself for a much better customer experience. The next one's improved decision-making. I think this is the last benefit I have on the list, even though there are probably more. And this one is something that with AI, I think we're going to see a lot of growth in this area, because AI has the ability, and computers have the ability, to take in a lot of data and actually remember it and diagnose problems quicker and see through things that we can't. So automations have the ability to collect and analyze data as they work. When you start pairing data retrieval with data analysis using something like Code Interpreter and GPT-4o assistance, for example, then you can start making actual data-driven decisions much more effectively, both for your personal life and business life. So I'm kind of in the process of I haven't created anything yet, but I have this idea to have an automation where I track my sleep and everything from this Oura ring here. Shout out to Carter for giving me that idea to get the Oura ring. But this ring, I just keep it on my finger. And I'm in the process of trying to set up an automation where I can import my sleep score, because it tracks your sleep activity, stress levels throughout the day based on heart rate and also daytime rest. I'm in the process of automating that to a Google Sheet so that I can see all of my stats for my health and my body. And then not only that, but uploading all my calorie data and all my food intake that I track on my phone to a Google Sheet, and then start making data-driven decisions based on things like Ashley was saying, like blood work or workouts that you've been doing, weight gain, body fat gain, things like that. So that would be an example for personal life of how you can actually collect data and have AI make decisions, not for you, but with you, right? You can kind of see and analyze the data in a much better way using AI. And I think that's only been possible within the past couple of years, having that automated data retrieval. There have been systems in the past, but now anybody can do it, right? It's not just
like something like, sorry to interrupt, Drake, but something like the Oura Ring API, like a lot of people are not going to right away be able to pick up writing Python or something like that, or making an HTTP request. There's some of those things now that AI can just do for you. And if it's a personal small project and it's just a little bit of code that you need written, you only really need to know the basics. And we're going to go over that kind of stuff throughout these next 4 calls after this one. So I'm excited, guys. This is going to be great.
Yeah, very good point. I'm going to get into that a little bit later too. Like, I don't really know much about code or automations even, but AI helps me understand it in such a way that I can know about it. And not only just know how to create the actual code itself or how to structure automations, but how to understand why it's structuring that automation in a certain way. It doesn't only give you the how, but you can ask it for the why. And I'm always about learning the why and things. So now I think it's time to take a look at some examples. While I'm screen sharing, I'll just go through an automation that I've created in which some of you have probably seen, but I've uploaded this AI content automation module in the school community. I just wanted to show you this real quick. I'm going to minimize my screen that I see right here. Basically, what this automation does is if I'm ever reading an article, for example, OpenAI shuts door on China. This is actually quite an interesting article for artificial intelligence. OpenAI kind of cuts off models to Chinese companies, kind of an interesting little topic. And I thought it was interesting. So what I did and what I can do is all I need to do is when I see a topic I like on an article that's not subscriber blocked or paywall blocked, what I can do is I can just copy this URL. By the way, this is just an example of how I use automations right now. This is the workflow that I'm improving on just to get your mind spinning. I can go to my automation dashboard. And this is something that I built in Notion. Actually, Carter built this dashboard in Notion. I just built the little workflow for the AI content automation. All I have to do, instead of creating 4 social media posts, which we had that talk with Simon earlier about finding your style and what works. And that's kind of what I'm in the process of doing right now. I'm improving on this thing as I go. But what all I have to do now is hit create social media posts, just paste in my URL to this URL property. And then this can trigger an automation, but for the sake of example, I just want to head to the AI content automation scenario that I have in Make. Make has been being a little bit slow today, so bear with me here. But I have this AI content automation workflow in here, if it's going to load. Carter, you have a status on Make?
Make has had some outages today.
That's unfortunate. That's great timing for the AI automation call, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's normally it's really, really good, but it's been a bit of a spike today on July 1st. They're usually pretty solid, but yeah.
Okay.
It's like there's
I'll just show you the results then, because the results have actually been better, me creating these AI posts. What this automation basically does though, when Make is working, first time Make has not worked for me, by the way, in the past 2 or 3 months that I've been using it. So that's amazing timing. But what this automation will do is take that URL and it will go through here and actually create social media.
Screen. Show them through the automation real quick. I took screen share. Sorry about that.
Oh, gotcha. No, you're good. You're good. No, what this automation does, can everybody see my screen now?
Yeah.
Is that all good? Okay. Is it will take that URL that I just pasted in from that article that I found interesting, and it will create 4 social media posts, one for LinkedIn, one for Facebook, one for X, and what's the other platform? Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. Yeah. So those 4 platforms, and it creates social media posts. And I've been finding that this actually is producing better results than when I was paying somebody to do social media posts for me. So even just this post right here, I use this process, this automation that's not loading right now, but it took me 2 minutes to create 4 posts. And this is just, talking about the AI revolution, how it's reshaping the job market. And this was based on an article that I found interesting. And it created even this AI generated image for me based on the summary of the article. This was an entirely automated process from the post creation to the picture creation to the actual distribution of it onto LinkedIn. And this is actually one of my better LinkedIn posts. I'm not very active on LinkedIn, so 12 likes for me on LinkedIn is pretty solid, but I'm going to show you what this was, kind of compare this to another one of my LinkedIn posts when I was hiring somebody to build them. But yeah, I got 12 likes, 2 comments, 1 repost, and it's really not bad for 2 minutes of me just finding an article URL, pasting it in my Notion, and having these posts created for me. These are all people that could eventually turn into community members or customers or people in my ecosystem now, just because of this 1 2-minute automation that I built out. And now I can repeat that process. I could do this once or twice a day. I don't want to overload my feed with content, but if the posts are quality and people are liking them, they're resharing, they're commenting, you kind of have to work with the automation in order to build it out the way you want. But I think that's awesome, right? 12 potential people that are going to be following me for more posts now. Another example was this tech war versus China. That article that I just showed you, I actually created a post on that. I did this automation process, again, took 2 minutes, uploaded everything, and it has 5 reposts, 7 likes. Not bad for me not being active on LinkedIn whatsoever, and also just potential customers. Once again, people who are liking my post. Same thing for X. I had this one posted on X as well, from another article that I generated for LinkedIn as well, from the URL. And I'm not active on X at all. I have like 300 or 500 subscribers. I don't even know, but this is people that I wouldn't have had talking, and comments that I wouldn't have got, and people that wouldn't have known my brand had I not done this automation. So even little wins like this, I don't have really time to be posting on X, but if I have time to create automations to show you. So I wanted that dual purpose, if I can get some X posts out of it. These are 4 likes. I know it's only 4 likes, but for never posting and getting 2 comments, that's pretty cool. Compared to when I hired somebody to do stuff, I was getting a lot of posts like these. I went through this phase where I wanted to post on LinkedIn, where I wanted to, grow it, but I wasn't finding any success, and I didn't really have any control over the process. I paid somebody, I think, $80 for this one post here, from the caption to 8 ChatGPT time savers. This is kind of this PDF right here where I show use cases for saving time in ChatGPT. I thought this was going to be amazing, but it got 3 likes, no reposts, no comments. So it kind of went to show me that, however, that I can't really pay to win, and I did this for a month and got no results. I ended up paying the guy like $2,000 for LinkedIn posts, and I think the most I got was like 20 likes on a post. But then my automations come in, and it takes me 2 minutes to create a post and does a lot better, and I have more control over the variable factors, which I really like. Another automation that I have that I just want to show you real quick, another very simple automation that just helps customer experience, because I talked about improved customer experience, is just this Zapier automation that I have. This is one that I set up for my customers that buy the ChatGPT Mastery course, which if somebody would like to participate and test this automation out, feel free to buy the ChatGPT Mastery course. No, I'm joking. But whenever a checkout session is completed in Stripe, I have a filter set up here so that, this is a basic thing, but this is kind of where your mind can go for automations. So that when my line items description exactly matches ChatGPT Mastery, that invites the member to the school group automatically without me having to do it manually. That's something that just saves me so much headache. That took me 5 minutes to create. I don't even have to think about it now. If somebody buys, I know they're getting invited. Now, a lot of apps do that for you, but School and Stripe, I just wanted to connect those two before School even had payments. So I had to set up this quick automation. It took me 5 minutes, but saved me a lot of time and a lot of headache. But yeah, that's an example of how you can use automations. I hope that got your mind spinning on ways that you can use it for content, customer experience improving. And we're going to be going a lot more in depth on more fun things that you can do with automations. But I believe Carter now has some
Drake, can
automation.
I jump in for a second?
Yeah, what's up, Gary?
One thing just with that example there that I really like is to realize that automations don't have to be complex. People see these big 20-step automations or more. Automation is anything that can help you be more productive, from Google automatically routing your email to a particular folder. I can't tell you how much time every day that simple thing helps. And it didn't happen in Make. It's just as simple as a rule within Gmail. But those type of things happen everywhere. So one thing recently, within the last week, I got tired of, but now that I've joined School, is I was missing meetings primarily because the school calendar starts on Monday, and I hate that. I like my calendar to start on Sunday. And so I wanted a Make to go in and basically remind me when meetings are coming with my Google Calendar. Now, Google will send you an email, but they don't SMS anymore. Okay. I'll go hours during the day without checking email. So if I need to be automated or notified, text is it. There are third-party services that can do that. And I looked at them. One was like $15 or $20. I literally went into Make and in like 5 minutes created a simple automation to send me a text message to do it. It's a 2-step automation.
That's awesome.
But it helps me know that I'm not going to miss a meeting now. And honestly, it's a good place to start. I learned an awful lot about Make just going through those 2-step processes.
That is a very good point, Gary. And oftentimes the most simple automations provide the most help. You could build on it too. You could start off small and build on it. So if I wanted to, I could even add a step in here to send a welcome email or to have somebody get onboarded a little bit better, which I'm thinking about doing now. But that is a very, very good point. Automations don't have to be these huge Make automations you're seeing now, which I wish Make was loading right now, but those 20-step automations, it can be a simple 3-step automation to make your life a lot easier and to stop a lot of headache and a lot of customer support as well. So Carter, do you have some automation tips to share, or some automations that you were thinking about getting into?
Yeah, absolutely. I might be able to get Make to work. It looks like it could possibly be working right now. So I've been working on a 2-step automation in Make that I'm going to be sharing with you guys once I perfect that voice. The issue with doing here, I'll share my screen. The issue with doing an email automation is if you are running multiple ventures, or you have like an email that's, can everybody see my screen? Can everybody see my?
Yeah.
Okay. If you are running something with email, you essentially have to think about the outcome that you want it to produce, right? You have to think about the messages that you want to come out on the other end as drafts, because this basically produces drafts for my emails and categorizes them for me. So it basically does the job of an email assistant. And right now, it's not where I want it to be for my personal voice, but this is for like my central email. So when you have like a bunch of different things coming at it, it's tough. I think for a customer service email, if anyone in here has like a use case like that, I think that this would work phenomenally well. So I just wanted to show you guys this. Basically, it's a 2-step automation. It gets and categorizes the email in this step. So right here, essentially what it's doing is it's just watching for new emails to my Gmail account right here. And if I were to start this automation, it would just watch for any new emails. And then it basically just checks right here if this email contains my name as the sender, not to continue. Because if I'm sending myself an email, I don't want to respond to myself, because that would create this weird loop thing. So basically, I don't want it to do that. I don't want it to respond to emails that contain me as the sender. So I have it continue if that's not the case. And then it adds that info to a Notion database, similar to the one that Drake showed you for the content automation. And then Claude comes in. So now we have Anthropic Claude. I was using Haiku when I was first using this, but just a little tip, if you guys want to use Sonnet, you can actually switch to Map, and you can just copy and paste Sonnet, your Sonnet code right here, and it will.
Is it the new
Sonnet
will that work
3.5.
with 5? Okay, that will work with the new Sonnet 3.5 model.
Yes, I don't
cool.
know if I can get that code without going into my
no, that's fine.
console.
It's fine.
But yeah, you can basically paste that code in there. You just have to switch the model to Map, and you can use the newest model, which is cheaper and it's a lot better. So what this is actually doing at this point is it's not writing an email. It's actually the role of this, you'd call it an agent, I suppose, step right here is to take messy HTML and long link cluttered emails and turn them into a simple plain text, remove URLs unless they're short and relevant. So it's basically like a formatter, right? And then it puts that content back into Notion for me, because when you first get content out of an email, it might be a newsletter, it might be an HTML document. You're not necessarily just getting text all the time. So this step right here is simplifying that down using AI for this step right here. Now, I could parse that out in other ways, but it's actually doing a pretty good job for what I need it to do and sending that information in a chunked down format to this next agent right here and adding it to my Notion workspace. From here, this agent is categorizing the emails. So this is the email categorizer assistant. If I go over to my assistants API, I have this email assistant. Is this the one, or is it email categorizer here? So the email categorizer assistant responds in a JSON format. And this is the system prompt that I have for it. So it's basically just telling it how to respond. And then in this backend assistance API section, you can turn on JSON object right here. You can mess with the temperature and the top P. And to be honest with you guys, I generated this email classifier just using ChatGPT. I literally just asked it to provide an example of a JSON output for my ChatGPT assistant. And I told it all the things that needed to be outputted. And basically what JSON is just a structured way to talk to the computer and deliver information or data. So all I'm doing here is I'm saying to categorize it as feed, to categorize it as spam, to categorize it as respond. And I'm giving it different examples of what that looks like so that it can understand that and output the next step for my automation. Now, this gets a little bit advanced here, but Drake also goes over this, I believe, in some of the automations that are already out. We have a parse JSON step. So this part just basically turns that result from ChatGPT into something that the automation can read, and then it updates our database with the categorization for that email. So all this does is it categorizes my emails. It reads my emails, categorizes them into either I need to respond, it's spam, or there's a couple other ones in there. But basically, that is this automation. And then we move on to automation number 2. If I can get to my scenarios here, which is the email router. Now, the email router is actually where the emails actually get categorized. So it classified it in my Notion database here, but after doing that step, I actually have it classify it in Gmail. So here, just all it does is it modifies the email label if it got categorized in Notion as, say, spam. If it got categorized as going to my feed, gets categorized there. If it's save there, and then if it needs to respond, that's where it goes through this special automation here, where it actually responds using ChatGPT. And we have basically an email assistant in there, similar to the other assistant, but this one is just instructed on how to write good emails. And this is actually where you'd give it example emails, like these ones right here that I had written back and forth with people in my community, people that I work with, people that were just, they needed an inquiry for something. So basically, I'm just giving it instructions on how to answer. I'm referencing that in ChatGPT with ChatGPT in Make right here, and pulling that information in and then creating a draft of that email. So all I have to do is go in there and hit send when the email is drafted. So this may look complex, but that's what we kind of want to help you guys perfect throughout this next 4 weeks. So yes, looking forward to it.
Very good. Lots of use cases. So as you can see, this one is a little bit more in-depth and complex. And I believe Carter's going to release modules on that soon. So that'll be kind of fun going in-depth on that. Yeah.
Hi.
But
can I say something?
Yeah, go for it, Heather.
Well, it's really a question. As you're doing that, Carter, like right away, I'm thinking, as much as I want to learn how to do that, like, could I just buy that from you?
You already have it here in the group. I mean, I'm going to come out with the course. You're going to have the blueprint. So you're going to be able to use this exact automation, actually. And I'm going to show you how to set it up.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
So this is Dan.
Very exciting. I'm like,
yeah, excellent. My name is Dan Rashabi, and Drake, I first came across your work on ChatGPT, and I promptly signed up for the mastery course.
Nice.
I went through it all. It was very informative. And my interest is in a number of areas that are related to this last topic. Well, many topics, but the earlier things discussed today had to do with, personal automation of, personal activities. I have a strong interest in automating business activities, and this email concept is one where I switched to Claude 3.5 after your video on it, And
It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
it's amazing. I haven't been able to produce all the results that you did yet at all. And so I want to get back to that. But so what I went through a number of prompts and I'm trying to do, I've got code generated, we'll see, but is to look at an email account where we're going to have all of our accounting processes come in with people sending emails that have PDFs and invoices attached and all of that.
Right.
And to find them, categorize them, prioritize, look at the priority, and then also move attachments to specific folders for further action. And so that's something I'm very interested in that type of automation. And then and so I'm looking forward to these next 4 weeks to examine that. And Carter, what you're describing sounds like it'll be very helpful towards that end for me.
Excellent.
I have a question on the video on Claude 3.5, Drake. Have you provided the prompts and what you did for the 15 different components? There's some that I'd like to just duplicate and learn from it, and that would be
Yeah, I can provide those, and sometimes it doesn't work for people because I'm not sure. I think you have to have artifacts enabled in order to get to the preview. I'm not sure if you do.
I do now.
You also need to be using,
okay.
I don't know if you said this, but you need to be using React as well for preview.
Yeah, React I found
that
works well for preview. So if you ever want like a dynamic interactive experience with your code, yeah. I would just say use React and create X. That's kind of, sometimes it works without saying use React, but a lot of the times when you say use React, it's that language that it understands. Or
great. So yeah, this is why I wasn't getting the kind of results you were getting. You were amazing.
Yeah. And if it, well, thank you. And if it still isn't working out, then just let me know and I'll try to help you. But I think using that language of use React and build X helps.
Okay, and I do have artifacts turned on now. So
Dan, awesome. I had the same thing. I was like, Drake, how are you getting this to work? I'm trying to do all these projects with Python. I'm having to do them all locally, and I'm still going back and forth. And he's got these fancy previews. He's like, just use React, dude. I'm like, all right. So I guess it just works with React right now. I hope it gets opened up to more rendering more languages or even full projects.
Yeah, Gary, have you found that using React works as well? I know you use Claude 3.5 a lot, but
sorry, it took me a minute.
No,
to
you're fine. There. You're fine.
In all honesty, there have been so many things I've been researching lately. I haven't spent much time with it. I've actually been diving into the automations and haven't spent any time with that. So
okay.
I will say though, in all the videos I've seen and watched on it, that's what they've been using.
Okay. Yeah. So I hope that helps, Dan. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's get into the rest of this little presentation here. Should go fairly quick. Again, if anybody has any questions, always jump in and let me know. So we've taken a look at some examples of that's a very few examples for what you can do. And everyone's going to have bigger, better use cases. There's always going to be something else you can automate, as you will find throughout this series. But let's go over the important stuff, the must know things, in my opinion, for automations. And we're going to be covering all these things. I just wanted a broad overview in this call of what we're kind of going to be going over for the weeks to come. So how to start them, right? If you're going to use an automation, you have to know the available starting points and how you can actually trigger automations. So what are some of the options? Well, these are just, again, a very limited base of different ways you can start an automation, but there are multiple other ways. So you can do starting an automation when something hits your Google Sheet, your Notion database, when something hits your Google Drive, your emails, maybe when a new file comes in a certain folder in your Google Drive, then you start an automation. Maybe when a new row is updated in Google Sheet, when something's added to your Notion database. And these can all be triggers for your automation. Maybe when your favorite article is posted, when an article is posted on your favorite website, that could be another trigger, using an RSS feed. Or when a video or post is uploaded to your social media account or someone else's social media account that you want to create content around.
Is there a way to make it physical? I was thinking, as a dentist, right? So often people will not take their antibiotics the right way, or will do a lot of mistakes during the therapy, or during the after the therapies, because you did a complex extraction or a root canal or whatever, and then after 2 hours in the chair, you're explaining to the patient what does he have to do, and he doesn't remember. He's too tired, and he's scared, and he wants a break, and very often they will not remember anything. So I was thinking, is there a physical way to trigger an automation, to give them a QR code or something? And so if they do have a question, they can get a response at 2 p.m. from a chatbot, like, what should I do if this happens?
I almost feel like it's a use case for a GPT.
Yeah, just a GPT and just have a QR code.
QR code that will just direct them to a custom GPT, and this is it.
Right. Yeah, because you can create QR codes with ChatGPT or Claude based on a link, or you can just have an not an SOP, like an FAQ in your GPT, and whenever they ask a question, it could refer back to that FAQ. GPTs are free now as well, so people won't need a paid account to ask questions.
You could run them through a form after they hit the QR code if you want. I mean, and just have them enter their email, enter their name, maybe any patient information. You could even use Google Forms for this. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You could have that be your trigger for your automation when something hits that form.
Oh yeah. No,
you should almost make like a business card style, like magnet, and just put a QR code on it and just tell them like, hey, if you need anything at all, this is the personal assistant that you can talk to. And it's basically just really easy. You just scan this code, fill out your information, and then it'll have a conversation with you, and it's custom made for your situation.
Send them home with a package of dental floss with a QR code printed on the outside of it.
Yeah, something like this. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, just run them through that form step in the beginning. Have them like put in their details, so you have them as a lead one, but also have like that checkbox or whatever, and just have like a policy or whatever written, like a checkbox that's just like a waiver of rights or whatever, and then just redirect them directly to the chat bot. And then one thing you can also do is you can embed this knowledge in the chat bot about like some of your sales pitches. So if they are having like a certain issue or something like that, you could add into the chat bot things like, oh, well, you can solve that with teeth cleaning, or you can solve that with this product that I have. So you can embed all that knowledge as well, and links. So that's another thought. Is Drake told me that actually is your chatbot doesn't just have to be helping people. I mean, it can also be doing the 10% of the sales as well.
That's a really good idea. So yeah, that's really good ideas. Thank you guys. Really.
Yeah, sure thing. And going back to the sales, this is what Carter kind of means if you didn't understand that part, or if anybody didn't understand it. I made this GPT creator that's been actually used by quite a bit of people. I'm not sure. I know some people here have even used this, but it has over 5,000 plus conversations, decent ratings actually for building GPTs. 4.5 stars on over 200 ratings. So I created this GPT creator and I made a video about it, and I wanted people to use this. And when people organically find this, they don't necessarily know that I have a ChatGPT course. So for some of the instructions, right? I mean, the conversation starters right here, obviously I have the ones for get started, generate instructions, what is a GPT? But in this GPT, I also have a conversation starter for how do you master ChatGPT? And when people click that, what it will do is actually say, it'll give a prompt that I told it to put in here. It says, many users go from beginner to pro in ChatGPT when entering AI Foundations ChatGPT Mastery course. This course is designed to teach you ChatGPT prompting, every feature within ChatGPT to help you engineer your life and stay atop the future of AI. You can purchase the course here, and it even allows me to put a link here. And so that when people click that link, it takes directly to Stripe checkout.
Wow. So especially, did you ever get any conversion from that one?
I noticed when I actually uploaded the video, I was telling Carter this, I did notice an increase in conversion. I'm not sure if there's any actual way to track there is a way to track it if I have a link tracker in here.
Yes.
You know, if I track clicks on links, and I can probably track Stripe conversions with a link. I was too lazy to set that up at the time, but I guarantee this is at least converted 1 or 2 people. I would not doubt if more.
A UTM tracker.
Yeah. 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 Thank you, Keith. But yeah, that's kind of a good way that you could go about that. But let's get into some of the other things. So how to start them, obviously important. I left off when somebody follows you or direct messages you, you can even start automations with that. So if somebody direct messages you on Twitter or something, or follows you, you can have automations run when those events happen. Or when somebody buys your product, like I showed you earlier, how somebody bought my product, automatically invited them to the ChatGPT community. And it doesn't only have to be something like that, but you can send custom emails. You can message them on a different platform if you have their account handles. You know, there's so many different ways to start automations that you're going to find. I think it's next week's video where we go over the automation triggers. Next, integrating generative AI. Now, Gen AI might sound a little confusing. It's really not. It's just things like ChatGPT, anything that can generate from a text prompt. So automations have always been good, but just got 10 times better with generative AI tools like Perplexity, ChatGPT, Claude, DALL-E for image generation, and more. So learning how to integrate these AI tools in your workflow will give you an unfair advantage for streamlining personal or business tasks and systems. So Carter and I, we did have automations in the past, but like I said, we didn't have AI. And AI is a double-edged sword. It's not only going to help you perform tasks better, but it's going to help you learn how to perform tasks better, like generating scripts for code or setting up the structure of your automation. A lot of the times when I want an automation, I'll go to ChatGPT and say, I want to create this using make.com, Zero Code Kit, which is an AI tool, Google Sheets, Notion. How do I get it done? And it will provide me a step-by-step list with the code all built out for me. All I have to do is implement it. Whenever I get errors or have questions, I just ask ChatGPT. It's quite amazing. So we're going to have an entire call on integrating AI, and it's going to go over the multi-factor effect that it has, not only using it in your workflow, but using it to help your workflows. Also, understanding your AI toolkit is huge. You have to understand the tools of your automation that are available to you. And there are hundreds and hundreds of tools out there. We won't even be able to cover them all, but we're going to have a call dedicated to understanding your AI toolkit. Things like learning how to parse your info that Carter was showing you earlier with JSON, scrape the web using HTTP requests. So actually this automation that you're seeing down here, I typed in a search word, a keyword, for example, AI news. And what it does for me is gets YouTube video links based around that keyword. So just learning how to do little things like that, or using routers to control your flows, creating Python scripts, and more. There's so many different tools that you have available to you that can do multiple different things. You just have to know what's available in order to learn how to use it first, because a lot of the time people don't even know what's out there, what's available, what they can do. So just doing and knowing that is going to help you dramatically. Next, we have, oh, no, that's it. Those are going to be the calls. So we have understanding your AI toolkit, integrating generative AI, and learning how to start your automations with triggers. So this might sound difficult, but here's the good news. AI can help you, as we've been saying throughout this entire call, not only creating your automations, but in your automations as well, integrating things like assistants in ChatGPT, Claude, and much more. If you're wondering how I do things like creating Python scripts to pull YouTube video summaries, I just ask ChatGPT or Claude. It's a complex topic that I would not be able to do by myself. I'm going to admit that. I don't know how to generate Python to pull YouTube video summaries. I wouldn't even know where to start. But now I can just type in things like this to Claude, create me a Python script for scraping YouTube video transcripts. And it does it very well, and it works usually the first time. If I ever get an error, all I do is upload that error to Claude or ChatGPT. It's amazing what AI can do for you now. Gary talked about it in the past, how Claude 3.5 Sonnet is almost above a beginner level coder. Or I think that was kind of along the lines of what you said there, Gary. But I found that very interesting, as someone in the space said that there's different levels to the coding, and it's starting to creep its way up to replace those bottom levels. Simon just had a bird fly in the room on his head.
This is Ollie, if you want.
That scared me for a second. I was like, you have a bird in your house, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have two. The second one might come soon.
I hope that makes it into the summary.
Yeah. There it goes. That's awesome. But yeah, so you have AI to help you throughout these automations. You also have this community to ask questions in. Whenever you have a question, just ask. There's people, very smart people in here who can help you. And it's a good resource to
Can you
make sure that
create
you're
an app
using.
with it? So
Create an-
the first time I used GPT was because I'm a Jew and I want to save money. The thing where I do my shopping online, they will the store, like the groceries to your house, they will hide the discounts. So I went to GPT and I gave him the HTML of a discounted product, of a non-discounted product, and I told him, well, write me a code that will eliminate all non-discounted products, and I'll just put it into the inspector, and it showed me all the discounted products in the category. So instead of, because they would, so I was thinking maybe I can do it like a Google extension for that. Is it possible using Claude?
Oh, with Claude, I bet it's possible now. With GPT 4.0, it would have taken a little bit more time, I think, but with Claude, I actually like recreated my entire website using Claude 2 days ago, and it's pretty amazing. I wanted to build it using Node.js and React, and I don't know anything about that. I didn't know how to start up my terminal. I didn't know what to download. I didn't know anything, but it could definitely create that for you, I think. That doesn't seem like too tall of a task.
This is really cool.
Yeah,
So
the extensions are really easy to make with ChatGPT they were, and with Claude they're going to be really, really easy to make. One thing I will say though is you are going to want to know your way around, like just starting up a terminal, importing libraries, just like the very, very like basics, because piecing this stuff together, you can ask ChatGPT, but it might take a lot more time. If you can get like the basics down on like just how to run code, get Visual Studio Code installed,
create an environment, stuff like that. Right?
It sounds like a lot, but it's like just master like the basics of running projects, get through that.
Where could someone who's maybe interested in something similar in this group can learn the basics? Is there a good YouTube channel or like a good place to start?
I like if I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of YouTube videos as well.
I like this book too, Python Crash Course by Eric Mathis. It's just like a big book about Python, and Python is also like just like I mean, from my perspective, it's a good starting point, especially if you're in the AI space.
So take a PDF of this book, put it into GPT, and just talk to him.
Yeah, or just ask ChatGPT questions, of course. Like you can ask questions. I'm just saying like master the basics, because you might get discouraged if you try to start doing some of this stuff and it's like not working at first.
Yeah, that's what happened.
A small hill to get over.
A couple of days trying to do that and it didn't work. And I said, okay, like screw it. I'll just not gonna do extensions for Chrome.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely possible. What did you want the Chrome extension to do exactly, did you say?
To show discounted products when you're doing your shopping.
Yeah, you would need it to understand the structure of the exact page that you're using. So you might need to open up, like, have you ever done like inspect on your browser?
Yeah, I already made it work. Yeah, it works when I just paste the code into the inspector, but I just need to do the extension that will inject the code to the inspector. This is it.
Yeah, you just need to probably like scrape the code first. Like figure out how to scrape the code using make or something like that. You might need, and then you can create like a webhook. Use it. It's that might be not the best idea. I don't know. Would you want to run it like on occasion, or is it something where you want to click a button and it shows you all?
No, I was just thinking to do it as a protest, just to do a free thing for everybody to see the discounted products on a thing. I didn't want to make money with it. I just wanted to just mess with people because it's fun. And I wanted to do an extension for free and give it to my friends or for everybody. And you say, when you do your shopping online and if you can't find the discounted products, well, you just click this button and you
try it with Sonnet. Try it with 3.5. And if you get it to work, post something in the community about it. Honestly, add it to the automations contest, because if it's saving you time, you might as well upload it. All you guys should upload something to that, because like Drake said, it doesn't have to be complex at all. Some of our smallest, shortest automations are the best ones that we have. So
right,
definitely post about it in the community and we'll interact in there and help each other out.
Yeah, and we're almost done with this presentation. I'm just going to wrap it up real quick. Just some other ways that you can get help with this. and a little motivational quote here at the end, something good to keep in mind. So, and we have this 5-call automation series. It's going to help you along the way. I'm sure I'm going to even be learning a lot coming up with content for these calls, and also learning about all the ways that I can improve my automations. But I wanted to leave you with this. Usually the best things in life that I've found in my very short years of living are on the other side of what intimidates you or scares you, and also what you don't want to do. You know, if you're an older person, for example, who doesn't like technology, I know a lot of you in here love technology, which is great, but think about all the things they're missing out on by being too lazy to learn it. For me, personal example is I hate running. Okay, I hated running. But as I started running more, and as I started working up my mileage, 1 mile at a time or 1.6 kilometers at a time, I started to enjoy it more. And I hated it at first. I didn't like running at all, but now I can run a lot longer. I enjoy it. And I'm really glad that I started that, even though I didn't like it. So that's kind of like a little personal example. Automations were another thing that scares me. Running local models like Carter's been doing, that's another thing I'm like, do I really want to get into it? But usually the things that you're looking for are on the other side of what you don't want to do, or are you right, or what intimidates you. So that's all I have for the presentation. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. You guys have been soldiers.
Quite a few people in here. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. This has been great. I know we're way over.
It's been very good. What's up, Ben?
Oh, no, that was an applause reaction.
I thought it was a hand raise. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Great. I have a totally off-topic question.
What's up, Remco?
You're sometimes using a yellow glass. I know it's for blue light, but you're using it quite often when you make videos. Why you do it? Why do you put it on while you're making a video?
I was telling people this last week, actually. Some of you might have been here for the call. For one, I think it improves retention. I feel like when you pull up and you see somebody with these things on,
yes,
people take you a little more serious.
Yeah.
Also, if it's ever early in the morning, sometimes I like to record early in the morning, and that blue light hitting my eyes is pretty painful. It's just like a lot of headaches. So, but I think it makes me look a little smarter, if I'm going to be honest, when I have my yellow goggles on. Also, I was telling people last call, the red ones are for when I'm really serious. I'm not sure if you've seen the red ones, Remco.
No.
The red ones are wild, though. I mean, this makes me look like Tony Stark.
We need to make some GIFs.
Yeah.
With the red glasses, like putting on the red
glasses. These are the red
glasses.
ones, though. But to be honest, I do it kind of for my eyesight, but mainly because I think people take me more seriously when I'm on the videos and they see me wearing these red goggles. And also people interact about them. They're like, are those AI glasses? Where did you get those? What are those? People ask questions about them in the comments, and YouTube doesn't recognize what comment is what. It just recognizes you're getting comments, which increases your, which is better for the algorithm. So those are the two reasons I wear those glasses.
What brand are they? Are they a specific brand? Are they working well for you?
Yeah, I'll drop a link in the chat real quick. They work very well. I like them. Let me find it. It's Blue Light Block, but blue is spelled kind of weird. Oh, Block Blue Light, actually. Yeah, I'll send you their website link in this chat. Here we go.
Never run extra cost if it's an affiliate link. I'm just kidding.
Didn't have enough time to generate that affiliate link, but yeah, there it is in the chat if anybody wants those blue light blockers. I really like them. They're a little bit more on the expensive side, but I wanted just to buy something good once rather than buying a $12 pair from Amazon that's going to break on me. So I found that these are pretty cool, and they have some different design styles you can use.
Yeah, they got quite a few styles on here.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Drake.
Of course. I hope that answered the question.
Carter, your Python book, would you recommend it to beginners, or is there?
Yeah, it's super beginner.
Yeah, okay.
Super beginner. Yeah, I didn't really know much about Python. I only knew a little bit about HTML and CSS and JavaScript from building websites. But even when I was doing that, I was like low code. I would like do just the very basics to get by.
Okay.
But this book, it also just gets you into like programming a little bit and teaches you the idea of like on your computer when you're like creating your project folder, you're adding your files to it and whatnot. Another thing I would get into is just using VS Code, downloading Visual Studio Code on your machine and just running it. It's a very simple interface. It can be, I guess. You can add a lot of stuff to it, but if you can just get in there and start adding files to your projects, learn how to run them. There's a few things to learn about using the terminal. It sounds like a lot, but it's like, I would say it's like a good week of like just kind of staying persistent, getting over that initial hill. And then I think if you can get through that with the help of AI, by the way, and with the help of like real world resources like this as well, I think you'll be just fine. I think all of you guys can do it. And like Drake said, the things that intimidate you are sometimes the best thing for you. So
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
What's up, Heather?
Heather? I think you're muted.
Sorry. I was wondering, when are they going to start paying for the GPT use? Have you received any funds yet for your GPT, Drake?
Oh, the revenue sharing program? No, I haven't received anything. So I mean, I kind of had a workaround. So I built 20 GPTs and I put them for sale myself, and I actually thought I was going to run into some compliance issues. So I'm like, I'm just going to try to milk this out the best I can. I think they're good, but I was like, I don't know how OpenAI is going to respond to me selling GPTs separately. So I've read over
right now, ready to go, and I haven't up yet.
I don't know. They promised that it would happen in quarter 1 this year, but you know how that goes with OpenAI. They probably meant quarter 1 of 2027. So
okay, just curious.
Yeah, I don't have any updates on that, but I'm excited for them to do that.
Well, same with voice and like all this stuff.
That's not coming out until November now.
They just keep pushing it back. I mean, I'm jumping on the Anthropic train a little bit right now, guys.
Me too.
It's way better for developers. You guys are on this call right now. If you're on this call, then and you've stuck this out, then you're serious about this. Like you just gotta like learn a little bit about coding, learn a little bit about maybe building your own product on the side. Cause like a lot of these tools, they have the API. It's pretty simple to set up. You can have, if you want to sell a GPT,
can we do an extra course for old people in Anthropic like us? Like, I don't know, maybe we can get a like private lesson. Everybody will just pitch in and we'll do a small project.
That sounds kind of fun, actually. Like a project build.
Yeah, well, just something that can work for everybody, and we'll learn the basics. My problem is, and I think most of everybody's problem is that I do like 70 different times. So I do YouTube videos, and I do Instagram, and I do my video editing, and I teach, and I work as a dentist. So I'll just prefer to have it in a box where I pay some certain amount and I'll come once a week and we do the project together, and it will save me the time and the hassle of looking at, like I can do it on my own. I'm sure I can do it on my own, but the time investment, it's not always possible. So like if we can make a group for a project build,
maybe the basics. Would a live call be good, do you think, for that format? And maybe like a thread that goes along with each live call or something like that?
I don't know, like anything that we can actually watch you and ask questions and maybe do it in the same time. So
let's do it like this automation's like unlocked, but we can just do like coding with LLMs or something like that, or like coding with AI. And it can just be like, it could just be like like a couple Fridays or something. I don't know. Drake and I could talk that through and figure something out. I think that'd be fun.
Great idea, Simon.
Yeah, great idea. What's up, Heather?
Yeah, I was in Claude 2, 3, whatever yesterday all day. And the things that I was able to do with that was like remarkable. I actually didn't eat for like 6 hours. I was just like totally inside of it. And I thought, okay, I've got to step away.
I felt that.
That's how we were when we found Midjourney. Like when Drake and I first figured out Midjourney, we were like on that thing for like 2 days straight.
Yeah. I've been working in the field as a clinician for 30 years. And so I have a lot of information and I have a lot of clinical tools. And I was able to incorporate like 3 different theories, 4 different models, and about 3 different approaches that I use just by my experience. And what
clinician is a psychologist. Can you, because I'm very curious about what did you create? So can you give just a short background?
Well, it's like, it's so complicated for me to try to explain. But I look forward to it at some point in time. I had said to you before that I would like to share something. So I know down the road, I would like, to give back to this community, but I'm learning so much that I'm thinking, okay, how do I like stop the madness in a sense? It's very, very exciting for me. And what I was able to do was create this Well, it ended up being an automation. I went into the terminal. I did all kinds of things with it. In the end, it was almost like, yeah, it was, well, I don't even know if I'm explaining myself properly. Well, I was able to make something that what you were talking about before with the what is it called? You guys use that 4-letter Myers-Briggs. So
Yep.
I've been working with personality psychology for about 30 years. So I have all this stuff in my head, right? So when I meet with somebody, I have all the personas, I have a lot of different things going on in my head. So I was able to build this thing with using Hexaco and the Big Five. And those are all personality traits. And now I have people who are consulting. I'm not trying to I have too much work already, but I was able to create this, I don't even know what I want to call it. It's an automation, but it's a bot. It's 4 or 5 things in one. And right now, as I'm speaking with people, when I'm working with people, I'm analyzing, it's assessing at the same time. And as you're asking questions, because I know what I'm talking about, I was able to create, like instant kind of problem solving for people. So families that are going through, let's say, a divorce, like just if I could use that, right? A divorce. And it's really, really complicated. And very quickly, it'll shoot out like a template and start asking questions, and it mines down right away, given the personality traits. So if the father's extroverted, the mother's introverted, the kid's extroverted. So all of these different scales. And what I was able to do, I did 3 assessments, and it was absolutely remarkable. And it was with people that I know.
That's awesome.
Maybe that's saying, yeah, it's really quite awesome. And that's just me. And someone was saying before,
I feel like that's good to test on people you already know as well, right? Because you can tell if the assessment's a lot like accurate.
That's it. That's it. So I had a group, and what I did is that people sent me in their personality results. And beforehand, on my own, I wrote up a profile. And then I looked at the profile and I said, okay, if these 5 people that I don't know, right, if we're going to be talking about these topics, what are they likely, how are they going to respond and or react?
Right.
And so I created these scenarios, and then I ran it through, and sure enough, I ran the group, and it was like, oh my gosh, it's like the things that were predicted, first of all, me, right? I predicted what I was going to do. And then with the machine predicted, it almost unfolded in real time with a couple of subjects.
Isn't that crazy?
It freaked me out. It like totally freaked me out. So I'm trying to like dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I'm thinking integrated into sales, right? Like if you have a sales bot and it will in the like real time will assess the personality of the person and will give him an offer based on his personality.
Yeah, you see, I'm not going to be doing stuff like that, but I can see why you would, right? So for me, really what it's for is to be able to help people. So part of what I'm trying to do is help people make either a GPT or something to even analyze themselves and see what they're up to, right? So when I'm in there and I'm typing away, I'll stop and say, what am I up to here? What have I been doing in this chat stream, right? Because I'm not trying to sell, even though I'd like to make some money. It's more about trying to figure out, because you can get manipulated very, very easily with these personality traits. And so it's very dangerous stuff. I'm not trying to manipulate anybody as much as I am trying to
figure some things out, right?
Figure a few things out. And even as you're doing it, right? So I'm building into mine that I got to take a break after 3 hours because it's like, it's got to shut me down because I'll do it all the time. And that's what I'm concerned about. I work with kids who someone was talking about ADHD. And I'm really worried that there's going to be a lot of kids that you're not going to be able to pull them away from that machine. Like they're going to get so addicted to doing this stuff, right? Because like exhibit A right here. And so how do you not, how can you use it in a way, right, that you can learn, but also in other areas of your life?
I think that's I guess that's one of the benefits of Claude's rate limits right now. Because because you know how Claude has message limits?
Yes, exactly. It shut me off 4 times.
Yeah, that's if Claude wouldn't have had message limits, I ended up buying another account because I was so addicted to it.
Well, that's the problem.
I've got close your ChatGPT. Drake said this is a bad idea. I was like, close your ChatGPT account, buy a second Claude account, and when the one runs out of her rate limit, you go to the next one.
I'm not kidding.
I just kept them all.
Addictions is a real problem with it.
Yeah,
right?
that too.
Anyway, but it's very exciting as well. So I'm trying to implement into it. How can I use this for good, so to speak, right? How can we use this in a way that we can make some money, share it with other people, but that community aspect is really important, right? Like how can we how can we use this so we're not going to destroy the next generation? So
Might have to
Absolutely.
might have to create your own model using an open source data set and then have restrictions and guidelines. That might be a project
and say
for
why,
you.
right? And say
Yeah.
why we're doing this.
Yeah.
You know,
That could help you even more too, because you have your whole assessment profile. So creating your own model, I don't think is too difficult. Especially somebody shared something, I forgot what it was called, but Google created it, and they have got all sorts of templates for creating your own large language model interface. And if you're fine tuning your data, not only can you generate those profiles you're talking about if you want to get this advanced, but you'll also be able to set up limits and stop. Yeah, that'd be kind of maybe of an idea, so that your clients who might be dealing with some things or
serious.
Then they can't overuse this stuff and get too entranced. Because even myself, I feel like I have good self-control, but I mean, I was trying to recreate my website the other day, and started at 7 a.m. and it was 3:30 after 2 Claude accounts, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get off this thing. I don't even realize
It's true. That's what I can see happening.
If you're enjoying doing the programming with Claude, making
the project
softwares and things like that, then I recommend you just use their API tokens as well. I put a project down there on GitHub, and you can just literally type into ChatGPT like how to clone a GitHub repository, and you can run this this project that basically it just talks to you in the terminal, just like a chat bot, and you can ask it to generate entire projects for you using Claude 3.5. And he's improving on this, and it works really well at just like generating the full project for you. It's not as iterative as I would like it to be. But like if you just want to give it like a one shot, like here's the thing that I want, all the information you need, and then it just goes and it runs through a series of agents for you, and you don't even have to set any of that up. You just have to literally plug in your API key for Claude. That's all you have to do. And you just run it. It'll generate basically all the file structure for you. It'll tell you, how to run the project. So just something to check out.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing, Cart.
If you're running into rate limit issues, because I was just like, I'll just run this using the API, and then I can just pay as I go instead of I still use my account, of course, too, because Artifacts is amazing, but.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot who told me this as well, but somebody in the group, it might be somebody in this call, said to use Perplexity to use that model to get rid of the rate limits.
I would add though that Artifacts are not as good in Perplexity. It's
but
not good for coding.
If you can you can't use the same 3.5 Sonnet model in Perplexity, get everything you need, then bring it over to Claude instead of.
I'm
not sure actually.
I had Grok going. I had Sonnet. I had GPT-4. I was on crack cocaine. It was insane what was happening. And so part of my business is also, I like the idea of having the API do it for me a little bit so I can step back. But I also like it's, comparing long division and short division. I could do the short division, but I need to understand what it is that I'm doing. Well, and so if I do a few of them on my own, then I can go to the API and use that. But one of the things I think is really remarkable, and I keep telling people about this, is that what I'm finding I'm doing is that I'm working it out, that I'm putting up my own knowledge. I'm putting up my own knowledge. I'm working with it. So I'm consulting past me in real time, present me. I'm asking certain questions, and I'm getting answers that future me would ask, like in 4 weeks. So I can see, right, that if I ask certain questions, I'm like, oh, I would have come up with that probably in a week from now.
Right.
And now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I would have come up with that probably in 3 years from now. So it's like past me, present me, and future me. It's really, really strange what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, information is becoming very accessible, very quick.
Very, very quick.
Thank you for sharing, Heather. That was
You're very welcome.
I like hearing the complexities of your of your workflow that you have going on here.
Yeah, good.
A lot going on, but I think
Heather, you're in my Notion for productivity community as well. So the whole dichotomy around the past, present, and future in there, and I think that's a really cool thing to use as well as a tool to track all of those things in there. your notes, your tasks that you're completing. I'm actually coming out with 4.0 pretty soon. So it'll be able to track like sessions, or what I'm calling them. And essentially, like when you're working, you can punch in and punch out. That's all it is. But you can feed that to an AI and share like what you've done throughout the day exactly. And it's pretty intuitive. So I'm excited to share that. And it's got everything plugged into this future version. I'm going to be doing like the CRM, everything. I'm going to show you guys how to connect it all. So
nice.
It'll be great for just like a data source for this type of thing that you're talking about.
Yeah. The other thing I'm trying to do, because I'm going back to what I had said initially, one of the things that drew me to your community, and I'm getting the same sense with you, Carter, is really, Drake's sincerity and the community aspect of it. Because the way that I'm looking at what I'm trying to do is like I'm looking at resources. And what people were talking about today was time, energy, right? So my energy, I'm thinking, okay, that's great. 12 hours later, I've used all that time and all that energy. And then there's like a materialism or money. So time, money, and energy. And the number one thing for me is I need to separate and understand relationships, right? So it's kind of like, okay, wait a second here, right? How do I work out those things? So the resources, so I have enough time to be in community, be with my family, be with other people. And if all you do is focus on that triangle, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I do want to, don't get me wrong. Show me the money. I want to make some money, right, in my sleep and while I'm on the beach. So, right. That's my
absolutely.
But the community aspect of it is really what we're doing here. So I'll end on that. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
All of you.
We're glad to have you in both communities.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Does anybody else have anything?
Canada Day, July 1st.
Yes.
For those of you.
I'm in the AI foundations right now, classrooms. Carter, what you had described about the courses in Notion are interesting. Are they listed in here?
You can actually get my courses. They're linked in the classroom. So if you go to the classroom and AI foundations, that will bring you directly. If you go to our favorite tools and products here, I'll share my screen really quick.
Yeah, Carter has a completely different community for just like where he's teaching Notion. He built that community and the Notion All Access Pass like long before the AI foundations.
I got it.
Notion All Access Pass.
I got it. Okay.
Sweet.
Okay, sweet. I think that's it. I think that was a pretty successful call. Almost double the time, but I appreciate everyone for joining. Tune in next week because this was kind of an overview, but we're going to go into starting your automations, different triggers you can set up, answering questions for that. Hopefully that gets your mind spinning on all the different ways you can automate your business and your personal life. So,
and start building. There's no reason why we can't help you guys out in the contest. So if the winner comes on the call every week and we're helping them out on their automation and we're screen sharing back and forth, no reason to say that automation can't win. For sure. It's all fair game. These calls are available to everyone. So looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with, and we'll have more for you guys next week.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone for coming. Thank you so much for sticking out 2 hours.
Thanks. Thank you. Hey, Drake, I look forward to that. Those prompts for the
the Claude prompts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll post those in the community. Sure thing.
Great, thank you. Bye now.
All right. Bye now. Bye.